My name's Brian, and I've been working on a little Ableton rig, and I just want to be able to share with y'all what I've learned and what the Lord has showed me through this. So starting off, we're playing on a Nord. We're not using any sounds from it, but it's a Midi controller. It's just a fancy Midi controller. We're using a Novation Launch Control XL for controlling the session, so we're not having to click around on a mouse while we're playing. Have a Nano Key too. This little thing, just controlling some auxiliary sounds that we're doing, and then running on a MacBook Pro 2019. It's not one of the silicone chips. It's got an Intel in it, so we're working with some prehistoric hardware, some may say. So we've had to overcome a lot of challenges doing that. So if you don't have like the most powerful computer, you're going to be able to really gain from this tutorial, I guess, or walkthrough of how I've set up my rig. It's very CPU conscious, and we're not using a whole ton of expensive plugins or anything like that. I'm using I got a few paid plugins, but not a whole bunch of them. A lot of the stuff we're using is stock Ableton plugins, and then we got some different stuff going on, but we'll walk through all that. So so I guess we could just start with the basic layout of the session. So I run everything in buses over here, so you can see I have a piano bus, a piano shimmer bus, pad shimmer, miscellaneous, bass, texture, drone. So everything from our audio or MIDI tracks is coming into buses. Nothing goes straight out from the track. So and we're just doing like light compression and stuff on the tracks itself, and filters and sending to buses. So we're running over Dante too. All of our audio goes out via Dante. We're typically using 8 to 10 channels of output, so we're able to split up all of our stuff, give the front of house guy a little bit of grace, being able to let him control what he needs to control and get separate EQs and whatever. So we could start with the pianos. So let me get out of this. So my session is basically set up where I have all these presets down at the bottom, and then I bring it up, copy paste to the top. This is where I'll put my set list, like a copy and paste from here, and then change the name to whatever song and put whatever key we're doing. So we just take, say, our drone, say we're playing in the key of D, copy and paste it up here, click play on the song, and that'll be our the set for the day. So we typically do 4 songs or 4 to 5 songs, and we do a lot of spontaneous random stuff in the mix. So just following the Lord. So let's start, I guess, with the drone, because it's playing right now. So I ripped this drone from a different session. I don't even know what session it's from. If you know what it is, leave it down in the comments, or keep it to yourself. It don't matter. I really don't even remember what this is from. It sounds good and it's easy on the CPU. I used to make them in Vital or in Massive X, and I just found it was using too much CPU, and I found this easy, simple, triggering it just with a MIDI note. So on each clip, we have just a MIDI note, and then it's just repeating. So so that's our drone. Let's go to our pianos. So this is where we start. With my pianos, I kind of took a lot of stuff from David Funk and the way that he controlled everything in his session with the Novation launch control. So each fader bank, I guess each 2 fader banks is its own separate channel. So 1 and 2 is piano, 3 and 4 is pad, 5 and 6 is miscellaneous. 7 is texture, or 7 is bass, 8 is texture. And then up at the top right, this knob right here, that's our drone volume, and then the knob next to it's the low pass filter for it. So for my pianos, I have volume. All my volume's coming from the buses too. See, so for my main piano sounds, I got volume and low pass filter. My low pass filters are in the track itself. You see, it's just controlling it, MIDI. So I have 3 different pianos I use. I typically just stick with the felt, but I have 3 different ones that I have at my disposal whenever I need. So here's my main piano. It's the Noir from Native. So it's a Noir Pure, and I just added some felt, and I'll typically add some mechanical stuff too going on, just to add a little bit of humanization to it. But yeah, just a simple piano, and it's going straight into the piano bus. As we go along, you kind of see how I do my buses. So piano goes to the filter, to a little EQ, and then to the compressor. And I'm shooting for about 2 to 3 dB of gain reduction. And then it heads its way to the piano bus. So here you can see I have everything set up in macros. My verb mix, I'm using Valhalla Vintage for this, just a little preset that I made. Completely dries right here. So that's my verb. I go straight from piano bus. It hits 8th note delay and then the dotted 8th delay. Those are both controlled, but right here on my controller, just the first 2 knobs. I just control the mix, so I typically have just a little bit of delay going on all the time, kind of like that. And then I could turn up the mix. A little bit of chorus. I don't really use this too often, but if you want kind of a more vintagey kind of sound. Also, I have a MIDI octave right here. So that's my main piano sound. I'm using the felt most of the time. I have a Grand. It's the Granduer from Native. So, and it's a Granduer mixed with a little bit of the soft piano from Labs. Free, great piano. I think like everybody uses it. So, but this is just a little bit of the grand. Then I have a soft piano. It's the Noir Felt. All my pianos and sounds are controlled with the buttons. Here's the soft piano, Noir Felt. Let's see. Let me pull it up so you can see it. This one has a lot of character, a lot of mechanical stuff. Soak it in effects. Yeah. I have my little sparkle piano. That's what I guess I've called it. It's just a little. It's the Granduer. That goes into the piano shimmer bus, and it's got some crazy EQ on it. But it goes into Valhalla shimmer that's just in reverse mode, pitched up an octave. So it's just a little swell. And that's all I use the nano key for. It's just a little layer that I really like to use it whenever I'm in a prayer room setting or whenever I'm just alone and I don't have any electrics doing any ambient stuff. It's for whenever I'm really just solo keys. So yeah, that's my piano. So then we could go into the pad bus. So I have 3 pads that I really stick to. I really mainly use one of them, but I have a couple of them that I could switch to just offhand. My main pad that I'm using on a day-to-day is the massive orchestra that I made in Massive X. So it's kind of what it looks like. The routing. So yeah, let's see. Same thing with my pads. I'm doing most of the processing in the bus, but it does hit the filter in the track itself. But most of the processing happens in the buses, so I'll just play a little bit of it, just kind of how it typically sits. Pad opens up. I really love how it opens up, but pad hits the compressor. Same thing here, shooting for like 2 to 3 dB of gain reduction into an EQ. You can kind of see. This is mostly just to kind of take some hassle off the front of the house guy. Then it hits a chorus. I don't really use too often either. You see it's not even mapped right now. But everything's in macros again, so it's a towel chorus free. Something else in the instrument track itself is I control my attack time. So I'm not using a bunch of different synths all at the same time. I'm able to use one synth as like a lead or just a pad. So I'm typically running it like about right here. I can slow it down, or I could stab it, be more of a lead. So for big moments, I may open up that for a lead line. So chorus into a pulse. This is pre-reverb, the pulse is. So using an auto pan plugin just with the phase set to 0, and I'm able to control the speed over here if I want a slow pulse or faster. And then I have a side chain, like a side chain compressor. I used to do both of these things with compressors, but then I saw David Funk's video on how he did it, and it just made a lot more sense. It was super easy. So with the side chain. And I have this set up to where I can flip which way, on which beat it's on. So if I have the click on, I don't use accents at all in the click, just in case we go somewhere different or whatever. It's just less to have to worry about. So I took the accent out of Ableton, and we don't use it. So if we're on the off beat, I'm able to just recognize and switch where it's at. So it'll be on the downbeat. And both those kind of mix together. Cool. So, and then I have a reverb mix too. I typically leave it kind of where it's at. So this is all the way at 100. Just using stock Ableton reverb for the synth. Just washes it out a little too much. I typically stay around 70. And then it also hit a shimmer bus. It's just Valhalla shimmer. Same thing as the piano, just not reverse and still shifted up an octave with a little bit of EQ afterwards. And I just widen it up with the utility plugin. And that's, you can see with the sends, I just control it with the send into it. So, what are some other synths that I have? That's my main one, the Massive Orchestra. I have one that my buddy Andrew made in Vital. It's kind of a rip of the church pad from Omnisphere. It's a really great pad too. It was just a little more CPU intensive than what I wanted. I was finding myself maxing out my CPU a little too much with it. So let you hear some of it. Beautiful pad. And then I have an OBXD patch that I made. It's kind of like a stringy, more of an 80s style synth. Oh, that's not it. Hold up. Let's see. Everything's in chain select. Let's see. No. Okay, hold up. You could tell I wasn't prepared going into this. Cool. So I don't really think OBXD ambient super well, but I think the shimmer kind of cleaned it up some. Thing pretty well, especially on the lead lines. Cool. Back to the massive. OBXD's super cool free plugin. Love it. See, into my miscellaneous my MISC keys. So most of the time whenever I'm running my miscellaneous stuff, I'm using this Dirty Rhodes. I just open the filter all the way up and layer it with my piano. But it's pretty nasty on its own. So this is from, it's also from Native. I think it's the Diamond. It might be the Phoenix. It's the Phoenix. So running into like a tube screamer, little twang amp. Doing a little bit of EQ to get rid of the kind of tinginess of the top end. And then all that goes into the same thing, filter, EQ, bus, it'll hit the compressor. The biggest thing that's different in this bus is I have a little bit more of effects going. So a lot of times I'll use this just as an ambient, like kind of background stuff. So I can soak it with reverb. I have 2 reverbs on here. So my main reverb that I'm controlling is a Valhalla vintage verb that's at the end of the chain. I have a pre-reverse delay reverb that I'm using. So compressor into the dynamic tube. It's just a drive or saturator that I use. Just to get it nasty. I have a dotted 1/8 delay that I can mix in. Reverb. This is just a little verb that I put before the Valhalla delay that I have running in reverse mode. This is a lot of times what I use this for, and I kick up the chorus. I have a pulse and side chain that aren't mapped. And then Valhalla vintage verb. So that's kind of how I use that. more of a clean Rhodes. I don't really find myself using a Rhodes too often other than the dirty, so. Same thing. This is also the Phoenix. This is also the Phoenix from Native. Oh no, this is a Diamond. Sorry. Organ. So the organ is from the vintage organs from Native. And you're able to really get it open. Kick that in from time to time. And then I just started fooling around with the session strings thing from Native. A lot of the stuff like the organ and strings isn't really set up. Like I don't use it too often, so I haven't spent a lot of time with it, but adds a cool texture, so I'd like to start fooling with that some. Then I have a synth bass that I use. I only really use this whenever I don't have a bass player with me, like if I'm in a prayer room and I have like an electric or an acoustic with me and I just want to kick in some bass. I route this to a different channel on the board, so it's just... and I have the sidechain pulse with this too. Same thing here. Bass is running to the bus, getting all the processing in the bus. It's hitting a little preamp. And then I have a couple gain stages, what I might call gain stages in here. This is just like a little noise maker. And it just adds a little bit of sound. Filter. And then I have a little drive. It's a tube screamer from Brainworks, a little tube screamer. I only really kick in if I just need some extra oomph, you know. This is, like I said, this is the pulse. And then just gaining it down a little bit with the utility. But in a full mix. Let's see. Just fill out that bottom end. And then right here, it's just something I've been messing with. Let's see. Just a fatter bass from Massive. But I haven't really gotten into it at all. So, what else we have? Texture bus, or my texture. I really found myself using this a lot more before. I was rocking a lot of shimmer on my pads, but it's just a little randomized sound I made in Vital that, let's see, I'll show it to you. So, say the key of D. It's just a little randomized sine wave. Turn on the drone in this. There's our drone and texture. I find it to step on the toes a little bit of the shimmer, but I think it's a cool effect if we're not using too much shimmer. So it's a little different too. Like you can change the pitch of it. I went and made individual ones for each key, but you could change the pitch if I wanted to pitch it down to the same key that I'm playing in. This is the bus for it. So same thing, hitting kind of a crazy EQ, reverb, compressor. So yeah, that's really the rig here. So just a couple pianos, couple pads, but it's simple and it works for me. So I'll just play it a little bit.